Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nummer of Mundo Albiceleste.com. I am not alone, not this time. I am joined by the one, the only, the living legend himself, the phenom, Sebastian Garcia. Seba,
Oh,
how are you?
stop it, you. Stop it. um, Sorry, this is live TV. I was adjusting my chair. If you see me moving, it's because of that. And because I'm nervous ahead of the game for against Colombia. But it's very, very nice to be here. Happy to be here as always. Looking forward to some comments, some questions, whatever you want to throw our way. We'll be happy to answer tonight.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, as I mentioned last time, I was alone. Seba, obviously, you couldn't make it, so it's good. It's good that you're back. It's good for me. It's good for everybody. But before getting into it, I see a couple of people in the chat already. Let us know where you're from. We'd love to do this. So let's do this. Let's start off with that with you guys. Where is everybody from? Here we go. Sports Planet from Nepal. Oh wow. Arjit, hello, buddy. How are you? How are you? Um, Hadik,
Fantastic. Nepal.
Hadik from
Ah,
India. Oof, from India as
beautiful,
well.
beautiful.
Uh, India as
We can
well.
we can we can reach
Nepal.
any higher than Nepal, right? It's
Yeah,
like
I
it's
don't
as
think
high as
so.
it gets for us.
I
Yeah,
don't think
it's
yeah, in terms of
fantastic.
altitude.
Yeah. Hello,
Bangladesh,
hello.
Trinidad and Tobago,
This is
um,
beautiful.
India. So
Uh,
we're
As
live.
long as
We're live.
as long as long as none of you is from Brazil, we'll be fine.
I mean, even if you
We
were
have,
from
yeah,
Brazil, we would still
yeah,
we
yeah,
would
yeah. Of
still tease you
course,
a little
of
bit.
course, of
Seba,
course.
you have some fans, and I must agree, we have missed you, Seba.
Oh,
We really have.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah, I tried up until last minute to make it. I couldn't make it. It was a difficult time, but every time I have the opportunity, I'm really happy to be here. It's fantastic. Hello, Cameroon. George from Cameroon.
ruined.
Beautiful, beautiful. I
Yeah.
also I felt bad because I had a lot of things to say after the last game that we had. I watched your video. Uh, I think you summed it up pretty perfectly, and but I was really impressed with the way we ended up closing the game.
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous during some parts of the second half, as I'm imagining every Argentina supporter was,
Yeah.
but happy to get it over the line, and with a
Oh,
great
God.
performance in the end. Bless you. And IT, hello, bonjour, bonsoir,
Oh, that's right. See,
yeah.
Rehan from India. But you know what? I guess we'll start with that because you mentioned obviously you weren't here. What were your thoughts, really quickly? What were your thoughts on the win versus Ecuador?
I think we saw similar things of what we've seen in previous games. Us getting ahead in the score, dominating, playing good football at times, and then dropping back, letting the opposition come at us without creating good counter-attacking opportunities. Maybe testing destiny a little bit more than I would like to. Maybe if the
Yeah.
opposition was sharper than they were, um, we could have suffered a little bit more. But then we saw some end product. We saw the team finishing up Ecuador at the end, which was very good, and we could have scored a couple earlier
Yeah.
than that. But overall, I think it's a good. It was a good opportunity for us to see in a do or die game what we can do. We've seen that Messi is really in the mood. To
So
me,
let me sorry.
the poll was immense. Yeah,
I'm just gonna cut you off right there for 2 seconds because I
yeah,
kind of have an idea because we were messaging, during the match.
yeah.
What did you think when Messi missed that opportunity in the first half? Did you think this is a bad omen, or did you think it's okay? We'll still get back into it.
No, I thought it was a rare miss by him. I didn't feel. Look, at times I felt like he wasn't sharp. He wasn't
Mhm.
really on top of his game. Some of the little plays here and there didn't come out the way he would have liked. But then at the end, he ended up with a goal and 2 assists, and he was huge again. Even if he didn't have like the best game, in my opinion, but he
Yeah.
was instrumental, obviously. But I wasn't too worried after he missed, because I knew he was going to make up for it later.
Yeah, it's. I'll be honest. I thought it was a bad omen. I mentioned, I think, in the video. I thought it was a very bad omen that he missed, especially considering Lautaro missed a couple of minutes prior. And I just thought, no, like Ecuador is just gonna get a goal, and
Yeah.
who knows what's gonna happen. But never doubt Leo, right? Never doubt Messi.
No. And one other thing, maybe you all thought about the same, because I think maybe Tony Cross was trending at that moment, because it was the very similar play to the one that Tony Cross
He was,
gifted to Higuain in the World Cup final, and we were all like, "Oh my God, it's happening again!" But um, little did we know what was going to happen later, later in the game. So I'm glad. I'm glad we got it out of the way. You also made a couple of valid points with Lautaro seemingly taking that big monkey off his back. He seems to be scoring now. He scored in the previous game, then he scored again against Ecuador. So it's good that he's getting in rhythm, without being too anxious in front of goal, without being too impatient. And obviously, it's a good thing that he is well rested, because he didn't play every game, every minute. So that is a good sign coming into the Colombia game.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. It was, he didn't start versus Bolivia. Obviously, it was Agüero, and he still got a goal versus Bolivia. So he did get that rest, and
Yeah.
obviously the 1 week rest before the Bolivia match as well, which you can tell he needed. Him and the rest of the squad absolutely needed.
Yeah,
Not the goal versus
no
Bolivia.
doubt.
And you know what? His goal versus Ecuador was not easy. It was
No,
He could have missed it because the goalkeeper was coming out, and it was very well placed in the top corner. And for me, that's a sign of someone confident. He didn't
yeah,
struggle. He didn't panic when he got the ball. He controlled it, placed it. Okay, I'm going to do this, and he did it. And I think that's a big show of confidence from Lautaro.
yeah. And let's not forget the playing fields, the pitches in this Copa America are terrible. So that ball is coming like it has a rabbit inside it. It's jumping, and it's very difficult to control. And even with the keeper coming his way, he control it and then place it very hard on towards the top corner. And I was very glad that he managed to score that one, because he needs to grow in confidence. He's not getting a ton of chances every game, so he's getting more into his rhythm. He's not the type of striker that would need 100 chances to score one. He's more. He has a high percentage of shots on target and goals. So I'm glad. I'm very glad that he's coming into his own as the tournament gets to the final
And
games.
we're gonna need him.
Of
We are gonna
course,
need
of
him.
course.
You
Yeah,
mentioned the playing field, the playing conditions. Obviously, Brazil officially qualified for the final. I don't think there was any surprise. And you look at that, and you look at the pitch. Obviously, not just in their match, but in every single match at the Copa America. It's been a disaster. It hasn't been very good. But Brazil in the final. Seb, are you surprised?
not surprised. Obviously, on paper, if you ask me ahead of the game, before the game, I would have said that they were going to get to the final easily, but it wasn't that easy. It wasn't. They were not on top of their game. They were helped by the referees, in my opinion. There is a handball by Thiago Silva. If you haven't seen it yet, there's some movement by Thiago Silva. He's making himself a little bit wider in his reach, and the ball hits around the elbow area before going to
Yeah.
a corner kick, and they awarded a goal kick because they said that the ball hit a Peruvian player, but it's very clear that he hit his arm.
Yeah.
But we didn't see the VAR checking that action, which could have changed the outcome of the game, or at least look. I have a guest. Benny. No. Oh, my little son. Yeah. Benny. Hola, Desi. Hola.
Hola.
Hola. Eating chocolate.
I want some chocolate.
That's Manu, like Ginobili. That's his name.
Manu. I was gonna
His
say
name is
Paprika. That's Manu.
Manuel. Yeah,
Manuel.
Manuel. Not Emmanuel, but
Manuel.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
but of course, it's the same short name, Manu. But yeah, it's um, to me, it's unfortunate that they had to do stuff like that. I mean, you check it,
Yeah.
you have to check it, you give the penalty, and then Brazil has everything in their power to overcome a situation like that. But now we are here, and we are suspicion of the organizers, and we are suspicious of what's going on, because in the previous game there was a play. Hello, I'm, I'm gonna say hello to Mano from Tom. So there was a moment in which Charles Aranguiz was about to take a shot on goal, and he was touched lightly from behind, but
Who's
we
talking
never
about
saw a
the Chile?
replay. Yeah,
The
the
Chile.
Chile game in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a replay, and it's the kind of thing that I think Brazil don't need. I mean, they are more than good enough to beat everyone in the nation, in the continent.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's the kind of thing that gives you a bit of a sour taste in your mouth, because it's just unfair. It's just, you need a level playing field, and there's memories from the previous Copa America and the semifinal. We played them. um, I don't remember if there was VAR or not, but there was a
There was.
clear penalty for us. There was a
Yeah.
clear penalty for us that they didn't give. It's the kind of thing that makes you suspicious, and it's not a good thing to see.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And no, there was VAR in 2019, and
Mhm.
look, like you said, Brazil's, in my opinion, I guess in yours as well, Brazil is the most solid team in South America. We have to be kind of unbiased about this. They are better than Argentina, but that doesn't mean that Argentina cannot get the win
Of
against them
course.
if they stay in the final. That's not what I'm saying. But to add
Mhm.
to your point, they don't need the referees. They don't need the officiating to beat teams. They're more
Mhm.
than good enough. They're more than capable enough of doing so on
Mhm.
their own without the need of
Mhm.
referees and stuff. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because
Yeah.
we still have to do our semifinal match.
No, of course. No, I'm just talking about Brazil and
But absolutely,
what
yeah,
happened against Peru. Yeah. And then we
yeah,
will
no,
focus on Argentina. We have a very tough semifinal coming up against a
yes,
team that can very easily beat us. We played recently. We were 2-0 up and ended up getting only 1 point from that game. It was a bit unfair. We dominated. We should have won it, but we didn't. So it's the kind of rival that you never like to pick or choose. It's obviously, we have to be honest. I think Argentina we have more players. We have more quality. We playing well. Colombia, they didn't finish among in the first two in their group. They struggled
yeah,
a little bit. So we should be the favorites to win it. That's not to say that it's a win guaranteed. I mean, it's not like facing Bolivia and I think they're better than Ecuador. And it wasn't a walk in the park for us against Ecuador. So I'm not expecting a walk in the park tomorrow either. But if we do things right, we should be able to progress and play that dream final that I would have loved to play in the World Cup in 2014. But there was one team missing from that final, and it wasn't
yeah.
us. Yeah,
And
but
it was embarrassing. It's not that they were just missing. It was an
yeah,
embarrassing miss. It was a 7-1. I mean, I understand a loss is a loss, a defeat is a defeat, but and it hurts. Don't get me wrong, it hurts for the
yeah,
Atletico
yeah,
now
yeah.
1-0 in Germany, but 1-0 in extra time or 7-1 at home
No,
in
no,
a
no, no, no.
semifinal. I think I know which one I would go with. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah,
um, yeah,
we're all hoping, because we can make a lot of jokes about it, but
yeah,
the last few finals we play against them, we were
not
on the losing
limited.
side of
Yeah,
of the argument. But
it,
um, it's it's
it,
uh, it's there. It depends on us. We need to go for it. We need to, and if we start talking a little bit about the Colombia game, I think we need to um, finally change that logic that we are following. That to score first is all very good and
Yeah,
nice. We want more of that. We want to score early, go ahead, but we need to stop panicking, stop going in a defensive mode way too early in games.
mhm.
So obviously we can talk about
And
what's going to happen, but I mean that's what I would like to see, and
yeah,
more of an idea, more of a killing instinct. Score one and then go for another. Have a bit of a breather and an easier life in the as the game goes on, and without risking too much, without getting too exposed.
yeah. No, and I agree. And I think we've been seeing that. I think versus Bolivia and versus Ecuador, we saw it. We got the first goal, and we didn't really sit back. We kind of still went for it. Um, I just pulled up here the starting 11 for or, what's supposed to be the starting 11 for Colombia. Obviously, the last time around, Cuadrado was a menace
Yeah, was
in the
suspended.
qualifiers.
You mean when we played them in Barranquilla?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was obviously a menace. He didn't play versus Uruguay. Was his, if I'm not mistaken, he was suspended because of the yellow cards. He would
Yeah.
play in the semis. Looking at this, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are, Seb. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I
No,
don't know how
no.
familiar you are with Colombia, but any strong points, any weaknesses, something?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty familiar with them. I saw many of them play in the Argentine league, so I'm familiar with them. And I also follow a lot of European football, so none of these guys are alien to me or
Okay,
strangers.
yeah,
Obviously, yeah, Cuadrado, it's a high point. I think he's the best player right now. Even though I'm not a big fan because I think he lacks a bit of a decision-making quality that I love. That's like if you ask me what's the attribute that I admire most in football players, in world
yeah,
stars, in world class players, it's one of the underrated skills, intelligence. To me, that's the main, the number one quality that I look for in a player. It's
mhm,
the intelligence, more than pace, more than whether they can shoot or pass. It's
yeah,
being intelligent, and it would be very rich for me to say Cuadrado is not an intelligent player, but that is the one thing that keeps him from being maybe top 10, top 5 players in the world, because the natural skills that he has, the speed, he has the full arsenal, but sometimes it's the decision making that play against him a little
absolutely,
bit.
yeah,
And of course, you have to look out for Duvan Zapata up front. He's very, very powerful. He can create a lot of problems. Muriel can play as well. Maybe they can play together. Maybe one of them is coming off the bench. I don't know what's going to be the decision for tomorrow. Diaz, one of the
yeah,
readers, I couldn't read the
yeah.
name.
You will.
Yeah,
Simon
Simeon.
Ali.
He says he's dangerous. Yeah, I think it's. If you watch the goal that he scored against Brazil, that was probably goal of the tournament.
Yeah,
Bit of a bicycle kick or a flying kick. But then, on the other hand, he lacks some end product. We saw that a lot in the previous game, where he started a lot of the most promising moves from Colombia in a very, very positive way. But then at the end, he was kind of a no end product, no
yeah.
quality in the final yards.
Understood.
And Bridget is saying Ospina is Spider-Man. Yeah, he was immense in the World Cup qualifiers against us. If it wasn't for Ospina, we would have won by 3-4 goals easily.
Yeah,
He kept them in the game, and then at the end of the day, they got a draw. But yeah, they are a very good team. The center backs, I think, they could be exposed. We could create some problems there, but at the same time, they can be a threat in the aerial game. So whenever
yeah.
there is a corner kick or something like that, Jerry Mina, it's a power to be reckoned with. Yeah, it's very difficult to contain them in
Yeah.
in the aerial game.
No, I agree. And kind of just to add to it, I mean, Vishnu writes, Cuadrado's crosses are dangerous. We already saw it. And something that we spoke about, well, I mentioned in the last game, the marking by Otamendi and Pasella when the crosses
Mm,
came in, that
mm,
was scary. And that was Ecuador. So imagine what Colombia could
mm.
do with what they have, or really any other team, what they could do.
Yeah,
So that is something that we have to watch out for.
yeah, yeah. But again, on paper, I think we should have enough for them to be more worried about us than the other way around. Obviously,
Yeah.
you have to respect and pay attention to whatever they want they can bring to the table, and also the center midfield pairing, Barrios and Cuellar. They have like 11 lungs combined. I mean, they can run and run and run, and they will never give you a yard. So we need to move the ball. We need to try to expose them on the wings. I think the midfield is going to be key. The midfield battle is going to be key.
Mhm.
That is one of the reasons why maybe we can talk a little bit about our preferences. Yeah, maybe that's
Yes.
coming up.
Yeah, here we go.
But
So this is our starting 11. Seba, sorry not to cut you off.
all
This is
right,
our starting
all
11.
right,
I asked you what was yours, and we have the same one. We have
all
the
right.
same. So I didn't do two graphics. We just did one. This is what we have here: 4-3-3. And guys, let us know what you think of our starting 11, and let us know in the chat what would your starting 11 be. We'll take a look at them as well, a couple of them. But so Seba, we went with Martinez, and as goalkeeper, obviously. Acuna, Romero if he's fit. And
Yeah.
I saw a lot of questions regarding Romero, and we'll talk about him in just a couple of moments. Romero, if not Romero, Pasella.
Mhm.
Then Otamendi alongside him, and Molina. Midfield, we both agree Guido Rodriguez over Paredes.
Mhm.
Uh, De Paul, Lo Celso, and up front Messi, Lautaro, and both of us, Papu Gomez over both Nicolas Gonzalez and Angel Di Maria. Seba, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm glad that we went with the same 11. It's not very easy to coincide with each other's opinion, because maybe there's one or two players here or there that we picked in a different way. But I'm glad that
Yeah,
we both went with the same. That's not to say that Scaloni is going to play this team tomorrow. That's what we will hope to see. We
right.
would like to see what would be your preference, and everybody that's watching. But I think obviously Messi is very important. There are a couple of players that are obviously the most important, right? But Guido Rodriguez. Let's talk a little bit about Guido Rodriguez, because I think he provides the balance. He's like the piece that puts everything together, because it gives you a bit of more security for the back four. He can cut the linking play between midfield and forwards for the opposition. Thank you, Valentina. Perfect 11. Yeah, um, and then he can also, the second function that he provides the team with is that he can liberate De Paul or Chelsea a little bit more, and obviously the guys that are ahead of them or more forward, because they know that they can go on an adventure, because they know their backs are safe.
Yeah.
Nothing against Paredes, because I really like Paredes. He's a technically gifted player, and I really like him, his character and everything. Maybe that position is not 100% suited to him or to what he can
Mhm.
provide the team with right now. And we saw that the team played more balanced in the previous game when Guido was introduced. So, and then yeah, that's my 2 cents on Guido versus Paredes. I like them both, but I think Guido for a game like this could play a huge part.
Yeah, no, and look, everything you said, I fully agree. I thought the midfield was a little bit shaky. And I'm quoting Siad, and I fully agree.
Yeah,
Guido definitely brings defensive stability to a shaky defense, and I think we saw that versus Ecuador. I'm not saying we were shaky in defense versus Ecuador, but when Paredes was out and Guido came in, you felt more, I guess, secure, and you saw a bit more balance, especially when Ecuador was attacking, because you knew Guido was, he was
yeah,
going to stay back, as opposed to Paredes, who, maybe sometimes has a tendency to move a little bit forward. And For me, Guido's the guy. He has that physical presence, and you need it. And against a speedy Colombia, and Colombia is a very physical team as well. You need that physical presence in midfield. And yes, we have De Paul, but Guido for me is that missing piece of the puzzle in midfield in that team, ahead of Paredes.
Yeah, and sometimes you think, okay, with Paredes we will be looking more offensive because he's more technically gifted. He can, join in the attack. He's no stranger to dribbling, and like he did in Colombia with that wonderful goal that he scored.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you think, maybe in theory, you think, okay, by introducing Guido, who is a more defensive-minded player, you are sending a message that you're gonna be more of a defensive team. But I don't think that. I think that's deceiving, because just by introducing him doesn't mean that you're gonna sit back, or you're gonna refuse to hold on to the ball, or play a passing style. On the contrary, he gives the guys up front, or the guys ahead of him, that liberty, that freedom, so they can go, make some forward runs. We saw, um, in the game against Uruguay as well. I think it was, to me, in my opinion, all things considered, I think that was the best game for Argentina in this Copa America, because if you consider the level of the opposition and the way we play, the way we completely erased them, conceded no shots on goal that night, we could have scored a couple of more goals. I think that was the best performance we've seen so far in the Copa America from Argentina, in my opinion, at least. And a lot of that was down to Guido. He even scored the winner in that in that game. But of course, we're not going to ask him to score every night. But what he's providing the team with, I'm more than happy. More than happy.
Yeah. No, and again, we're seeing a lot of eye to eye these days, Seba, because I agree with you. I think the team's best performance so far, all things considered, it was versus
But
Uruguay.
we should be fighting. That's the kind of thing
We
that
should.
attracts. We
Seba,
should be.
you're too wrong. I don't agree with you. I don't think we're best match versus Uruguay. No, but and it's true, because if you look at it, Uruguay created, I'm not going to say nothing, but at least close to nothing. Paraguay was Paraguay had the threat on the wing. A lot of the times that maybe Uruguay didn't. Bolivia was a different match, and Ecuador had maybe the crosses that scared me, but I wouldn't say that the match versus Ecuador was a bad one by any means. I mean, it was still a 3-0 win. But you need that presence, and I'm reading the chat, obviously, and I guess a lot of people are agreeing. I mean, Bridget writes, Guido is very versatile. He is, and he adds some, like, sometimes you see him even participate in the attack. It's not often, but you see it, and he knows how to shield the ball when he has it. He got fouled, I think, twice or maybe even 3 times versus Ecuador. So we need him. I think at the end of the day, we absolutely need him. And hopefully he gets the start, because we know how much Scaloni likes Paredes. And I like Paredes. I know you do too, Seba, but maybe not in this match. Maybe he's not suited for this match.
Yeah, and as we said, this is the starting 11 that we would be fielding if it was up to us, including Papu Gomez, who I don't think is gonna be called into action right from the start. I think Scaloni will go again with Nico Gonzalez. I have no issues with him. He provides a lot of things, but this is something that I've noticed watching Nico. He's, again, like I said about Barrios and Cuellar for Colombia, he can run and run and run. He's never tired. But he's too accident prone. I mean, everything happens to the guy. He's always on the floor. I mean, he's there. He's participating in defense, in attack. Sometimes we saw closing behind Acuna a couple of times in the previous game. We see him taking shots on goal. We see him, stepping into the opposition's penalty area. He probably could have scored a couple more goals than he has in Copa. I don't think he scored in the Copa America, right? But he was very close to scoring several times. But I think he's a bit chaotic, maybe too chaotic. And Papu, I like Papu. That he's one of my weaknesses. I mean, he's a classic, tiny, short Argentinian offensive midfielder that I love. So that's why I would like to see him, because the chemistry that he and Messi have shown, it's something very interesting, and I would like to see him right away. Um, but maybe
Yeah.
we will have to wait.
Well, we'll see. I don't think, like you, I don't think he'll be starting. There was a comment earlier, and I apologize, I can't, I don't remember who it was, but someone said, maybe starting Papu is not the best idea because he will not offer that defensive coverage, that we might need versus Colombia, and that is a
Mhm.
valid point because,
Yeah,
as you mentioned, Nicolas Gonzalez is a workhorse.
yeah,
Defensively, he does track and he does hustle and he does run, and for the most part, he does bother the opposition. It's just in front of goal, which is one thing we kind of need from him.
yeah,
He's not able to provide, but he does offer everything else.
yeah. That is a very good point, especially playing against a Colombia team that has Cuadrado playing on that
Yeah.
side of the field. So he's gonna be busy chasing Cuadrado, I guess. That's my prediction, at least in that part. And I would like to see Lautaro not being too sacrificed. You know, getting back to midfield, maybe to get in contact with the ball. I would like for him to be more of a presence in the opposition's box, penalty box. But maybe that's not going to happen either. Maybe it's going to continue with this trend because we've been talking about it in the World Cup qualifiers and in the Copa America. We played Lautaro, we can play Agüero, and none of them are getting tons of chances. So
No.
maybe that's something to continue working on, or maybe that's something we have to get used to because Scaloni is asking them to pressure the opposition, to work really hard, try to recover, try to play behind the ball.
Mhm.
We don't know what's the real reason why they're not getting tons of chances. Maybe they want to, hustle the opposition, um, free some space for Messi as well, or for Nico on the wings. Um,
Yeah.
so I think, it's a waiting game until we see what happens at this point. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a comment here, and I'm gonna I'm gonna read this, and I'm gonna flip a question to everybody, and I'm gonna flip it to you, Seba. So Siad writes, Papu and Di Maria could be huge factors as super subs instead of starters, take advantage of the tired legs in the second half. So my question to everybody, and obviously you as well, Seba, is who who would you pick if not Papu? Would you go with Angel Correa? Would you go with Di Maria? Or would you go with Nicolas Gonzalez on the left side, if not Papu?
Yeah. No, I'll stick with Nico for now.
Gonzalez,
Because
okay.
of all these things that are maybe don't go into the highlight reels, but provide a lot of support for teammates and is very important tactically. I wouldn't have any issues with Angel Correa playing. I really love him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't remove Nico for now, to start with Di Maria because maybe we are finding one of the best versions of Di Maria in the national team, and that is coming on as a sub when we're winning. Maybe there's too many question marks from my
I mean,
from
look,
my side. Yeah,
knock on wood, we haven't been trailing, so I don't even want to know what would happen if Di Maria came on while we were trailing. So
yeah,
knock
but
on wood.
that's what I think. It's he can be he can be an issue for the opposition when they're chasing the game, when they have to leave spaces behind. Because if they sit back, as maybe we can expect tomorrow from Colombia, they sit
Mhm.
back to hit us in the counter attack. I wouldn't have Di Maria playing there because Di Maria hurts the opposition when he has 60 meters to run in a straight line.
Yeah,
Maybe even dribble a couple players, get a foul or whatever, like we saw in the last couple of games.
yeah,
So maybe that's a role that even Di Maria is happy with, starting, not starting. I mean, coming on as a sub
yes.
when we're winning. When we're
It's,
winning.
I mean, you and more, maybe more specifically you, but
Yeah, me.
I'm in it as well. So don't worry, I'm not excluding myself. We've been his biggest critics, Di Maria,
Yeah,
but this tournament, I mean, he's arguably, in my opinion, he's been playing. This is his best tournament. This is his best run of games, his best performances for Argentina I have ever seen. More so than the 2014 World Cup, more than the qualifiers. just because I think he understands his role properly. He's not, and we've both, and this is kind of rude, but we've both kind of called him like a headless chicken sometimes when he just runs around. But we don't really see that this time around. We really don't. His decision making has been good versus Paraguay. In my opinion, he was the man of the match. Ecuador, he really tormented them when he came on. Obviously, won the foul for the free kick, the third goal. So he's been playing well, and like you said, maybe he knows, or maybe he accepts this role as a substitute now rather than being a starter.
Yeah, maybe he feels pressure is off a little bit, even though obviously when everything comes down to the wire, maybe the nerves are gonna hit the team again. Maybe the memories from finals that we lost, injuries, whatever.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, it's not happening this time around. But I think the key is that same as what we've seen with Sabella. Even though he was a starter with Sabella, but let me get my point across. Sabella maybe made the team sit back a few meters closer to our own goalkeeper to hit the rivals in the counter-attack. And Di Maria was instrumental for that. Di Maria, Messi, they're flying down the wings. They have Higuain, who was really fast back then, Agüero. It was very difficult to play Argentina if Argentina was setting out to play in a counter-attack. So that's why we got some very good results. But especially because Di Maria was not playing in 10 square meters near the opposition with 11 players defending, because he can't unlock a defense like that. And maybe with the pressure taking a little bit off his shoulders and with a lot of room to operate, we can see his best version, and we've been seeing it so far. So if you noticed, the best games for Di Maria were the ones where he could run and attack and go one-on-one. And like he did in the last game, he chased a defender, one possession back for Argentina, then Messi played to Lautaro, and that was it, 2-0. Or was it the 3-0? No, 2-0. And then
it was a 2-0, and then the penalty was the free kick was a De Paul cross. Yeah.
But then, De Paul sent the ball to him, and he run. He was only one-on-one with a player, and he won with speed. And then he draw this foul that Messi converted from a free kick. So 20 minutes, and the guy had a part in 2 goals. So that is more than we could say for several games that he played 90 minutes and was not a very influential player. So for me, I hope that we are seeing the best version for Di Maria, and long may continue, because it was a source of frustration for me with Di Maria at the national team, and I know I'm not alone in that.
I know our conversations. For those really, not really aware. Maybe I guess not many people know this. Obviously, we chat pretty often, and every time Di Maria would get on the ball, or after every Argentina match, win or lose, he's like, "Oh, did you see this from Di Maria?" Yeah. I was like, "Yes, I saw that," and I guess this is, again, maybe we've been harsh on him in the past, but look, I think we've been fair, right? Harsh, yes, at times, but for the most part, I think we've been fair, because we just spent the past 5-10 minutes praising him, and I think this says a lot.
Of course. And I mean, because there's nothing personal. I really like the guy. I really like the guy. It was more frustration that it wasn't coming from him. And as I said in previous videos, it's because he has so many good qualities that we expect more from him than from others. I mean, that's sometimes it's what happens with talented players. You're not gonna ask. I don't know. I don't want to be harsh with anybody with any other player. You're not gonna ask Otamendi to dribble 3 players and be the top scorer or whatever. You're not gonna ask him from that. It's not. It's being realistic. If you have a player who plays for Real Madrid, Manchester United, Benfica, PSG, all these teams, you expect more from him. That's the only thing. And it's a good thing that he's delivering now. Really happy to see.
He is, and it's good. You can tell his confidence is up. Knock on wood. If he could stay healthy, he is a game changer because we've missed him in the past. Obviously, in the previous finals, he was, and you could tell for the most part, he was our missing key.
Yeah.
2014, 2015, 16. You call it, you name it. He's been the difference, or the missing piece, rather. Let me ask you this. So there's a couple of people, and I guess I'll bring up the question here. I'm not a fan of it, Seba. I'm not a big fan of this whole hypothetical, but if it did go to penalties, who do you think, or who would you like, or who do you think would be your 5 kicks? And everyone else included as well, guys. Please leave a comment below. Let us know who do you think, or who would you like to see the 5 penalties?
Can I be really unpopular now?
You're not putting Messi, are you?
You read me like a book. I mean, he has like something like 25% of penalties saved.
Yeah.
He has a history in Copa America as well, missing 1 penalty in 1 final, went over the bar. I just hope we don't get to that point.
2015, he scored with Ospina in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and I still trust him, and I still think he should be. I still think he should be taking one of those 5 penalties. I mean, he wouldn't let something like that happen. I mean, not being one of the 5 players to take a penalty. I have a little bit of doubt over Lautaro's ability because I've seen some penalties that he missed. And you're putting me on the spot here, right?
I know. So you know what? Let's take some comments. We'll give you a couple moments to gather your thoughts. Simon says, Messi, Aguero, Lautaro, Paredes, and Papu. Look, if it does go there, obviously Messi is going to be there. Whatever we say, Messi will be there. Aguero, for the most part, aside from that little chip, the Panenka for Manchester City near the end of the season, he's pretty reliable. He scored some very big penalties for Argentina. The obviously 2014, the semifinals versus Silesen and the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Lautaro, you're just talking about something about Lautaro. It feels hit or miss with him, especially with him just coming back on form right now. So I don't know. Paredes.
He's a very good taker. He's a very good penalty taker. Yeah, and also I would put Acuna because that guy is not afraid of anything. I think he plays for 90 minutes and he's got something like 70. How you call it?
Fouls?
The pulse. Yeah.
The pulse. The heartbeat. The BPM,
heartbeat. It's at 70. It's at 70 all the time. Yeah. Wife giving birth 70. 70 here.
Everything.
Yeah. Whatever. Whatever the case, he's there.
Maybe you're right.
And I'll tell you what. I tell you what. I will give 1 penalty kick in the series of 5 without extending the list. I will give it to Emi Martinez. Just go there. Yeah. Just go there. Yeah.
Do a Geronimo Rulli,
a rocket. Right? Yeah, a rocket. Yeah, absolutely.
So Jaco Taco says, I'd like to make defenders tend to be fearless as well.
Like Garay. Remember Garay?
Garay was.
Remember Garay in 2014? Yeah.
He was very good. Good for Valencia. Good off free kicks. Garay was good off free kicks too. I don't know how many people watched him, but he was good. Jaco Taco says defenders. Was it Sorin? I think in 2004 that took the penalty versus Brazil. I want to say it was Sorin
in the Copa.
Guys, correct me in the final. Guys, correct me because Seba and I are getting old. Was it Sorin that scored that took a penalty in the final in 2004? Because I know Ayala took one in '98 and then 2006.
2004. Which one was it? The one that we lost on penalties.
Yeah, where Adriano scored in the last second. Yeah, Adriano scored in the last.
Wasn't Chelito Delgado, César Delgado who scored 1 goal? It was 2-1, 2. Yeah, you have to check it.
This is what Google is for, guys. Keep sending in your comments. I'm just gonna pull this up very quickly.
I'm pretty sure that César Delgado scored a goal. I don't remember our first goal though, and then obviously Adriano equalized for them.
I was right.
Last kick of the game.
I have a pretty good memory actually. Wait a minute, let's see. So these were not that pretty, by the way, the penalties, but I have them here. Bueno.
Oh.
So Kili Gonzalez scored, and obviously Chelo Delgado. And
Sí,
then,
César Delgado. Yeah. Ah, so Kili Gonzalez scored during the game.
yeah, scored the penalty. Then you
And
had
César
D'Alessandro
Delgado.
Alonso.
Ah, right.
There you are. D'Alessandro Ense, and then Kili Gonzalez scored, which is surprising because Kili Gonzalez took the penalty to make it 1-0, and then you have him shoot third.
Well, it depends on the manager. Sometimes they say, okay, my main player is gonna take the final penalty kick. Maybe, maybe who was it? That Bielsa? Yeah.
Yeah,
Bielsa
that
was
was
our
Bielsa.
manager, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe Bielsa said, okay, I'm gonna have, I don't know, maybe Tevez take the fifth penalty, and sometimes you don't reach the fifth penalty because you're out before that. It depends a lot on the players themselves, and sometimes the third penalty kick could be a decisive moment because you could go 3-1 up, or you could be chasing the other team. So there's no science to that. There's nothing written. All left-footed players. Oh,
That's
that is a good
interesting. I mean,
observation. Yeah,
D'Alessandro, yeah, Ense,
yeah.
Kili was left-footed, and Sorin as well. Yeah, very
Wow.
interesting, Jakataka. I did not think of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I have a lot of bad recollections from that Copa America because
Yeah.
scoring very late in the game, you thought you had it won. I remember Tevez and Alessandro playing, trying to waste time near the corner flag, and then Coloccini missing that in the last play. That was bad because Brazil were there with the B team and they beat us, and then they beat us in
And a
3 years
penalty.
later in
Yeah.
Venezuela. We were flying and they were struggling and advancing on penalties, and we were winning. We defeated Mexico, I think 4-0,
Yeah.
3-0.
3-0. Yeah, it was Ense,
3-0.
Messi, and Riquelme. Yeah.
It was very easy for us until the final, and then we lost 3-0 to Brazil, or 3-1. Was it 3-1?
3-0,
3-0?
3-0,
3-0.
3-0.
It was a
Ayala,
heartbreak,
and
yeah,
then
Guru.
Riquelme hit the post.
I agree with Guru Ceviche. It was a heartbreak. The biggest to me, I have two. The final in Italy 1990,
1990, yeah.
and the final in
2014.
2014 in Brazil. Yeah, those, especially because they're World Cups and not Copa America. But the 2007, and let me tell you a story. I was living in Brazil. I was living and working in Brazil. I was in Rio de Janeiro. I was working at the Pan Am Games in the organization. I was the only Argentine in the office. Everybody there, obviously, they're very, very big football fans. And I was like, we're going to win it. And I'm here in Brazil. I'm going to be, and then to lose it. And I was,
You were talking. You were confident.
I was, I was teasing them. I was saying, hey, so you went you went to penalties, and we were just scoring for fun. We are the best team in the continent, whatever. And then they even painted my face. The next day in the office, they painted my face in yellow and green. And I was like, oh my! I have a picture. I will send it to you sometime. But it was bad. It was the worst moment in my life supporting Argentina. I have to say, because of the context, right?
Because bad. No, mine was. And guys, share your stories. This is what we're here for, by the way. I know it's a little bit sidetracked, but it's fine. Share your stories. So mine, the 2007. I guess what hurt the most, obviously, 2014, the final. That one hurt. 2006 hurt a lot because, again, it was a World Cup and I really thought we had it. But 2007, I was actually watching it. And 2007 was the last Argentina match, period. Friendly, final, qualifier, doesn't matter. Was the last Argentina match I do not watch at home.
Oof.
That was after that I decided I can't do this. I'm watching it at home. 2007, it was me, my brother, and a friend of mine. And we were watching it in Little Italy.
Hey, your bio should say, I'm Roy Nemmer. I am social distancing since 2007.
Well, no. So the final. So wait a minute.
The first human being to social distance.
That's not true. No, wait. I take that back. There was one match. 2 matches. Sorry, two matches. Argentina, Greece in 2010 because we were already qualified, and Argentina, Nigeria 2014 because we were already qualified. The rest have either been at my place or at my brother's place. No friends, no nothing. I watch the games either alone or with my brother. I don't watch them with anyone else. I'm not normal. You haven't seen me during a match. This is no.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's
I
bad. It's
can
bad.
picture you with the face mask and everything. Watching the
No,
game
no,
like.
no. So to go back. So 2007, we're watching it in Little Italy, and
Mhm.
Little Italy in here in part of Montreal. So you think Italy, Argentina, Maradona, something, like they would maybe cheer Argentina. So we're in Little Italy. We're sitting at a restaurant, and it's full. It's full, and obviously Italians. So Argentina, Brazil, and no one's cheering for Argentina. No one's cheering for Brazil. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. Ajala scores the own goal. Everyone goes crazy. I right then and there, I'm like, I want to go home. In my head, I'm like, I can't do this. I want to go home. And I'm like, no, forget it. Riquelme hits the crossbar. I'm like, or the post. I'm like, this is it. We're done.
Yeah.
And then who was it? Wagner Love and Dani Alves, I think.
No, but even before that, they scored with the first kick of the game. Julio Baptista. He never. I mean,
Yeah.
who remembers? Who remembers him? But he scored
Who
with
Wagner Love.
Wagner
Said,
Love.
everybody's. He was playing in Moscow, I think. No disrespect to Moscow and Russia, but he was playing.
No, CSK. Yeah. No. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I saw a couple of here. So John, actually, we have John in here. Hello, John. John says his 2004 and 2014 still hurts when we had it so close. Never thought it's going to take longer for Argentina to win something. Yeah, that one hurts a lot. Those two. Charot, 2002.
2002. That was bad.
There's an interesting story about 2002 for me. So the first match, obviously, was Nigeria, the 1-0, the Batistuta goal. I watched it. The next day, I was flying overseas. So the matches for me when I was overseas were early in the morning, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So it wasn't like in North America or South America, it was 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And the second match was versus England.
Yeah.
I remember I woke up and I'm watching it with my cousin, and England scores. And I'm like, this. I'm trying to keep it PG.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? And then England win, and I'm like, this is horrible. No. And then obviously versus Sweden. So my track record, by the way, just to let you know, whenever I watch Argentina overseas, I watched them in 2002 at the World Cup. I watched them at the 2005 Confederations and the 2011 Copa. 2011 Copa.
Oh.
That's when I said, anytime there's an Argentina tournament, I'm not flying overseas. I'm staying. That was the last time. 2011 was the last time I went.
And when Argentina play in Canada, the Youth World Cup, we won it. So you have to stay there. Yeah.
I have to stay there. And yes, Bridget, he did. Michael Owen did dive in 2002, but you know what? Maradona in '86, so it's a fair trade.
Yeah. we have credit. We were not preparing for this trip down memory lane, so I'm happy that I'm happy to go through all our heartbreaks and at least cry collectively. And we're together. We're in it together. 2002, I was in China. So many Argentine fans. It was crazy. Sorry, and even the TV commentator cried when Bati cried. Oh my god! I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
I didn't know that, but that.
Let's mix it up between bad moments and happy memories in China. Yes. I was lucky enough to go twice to China, but only once Argentina were playing, because I was covering for the Olympics, for the Beijing Olympics, and I was there throughout. I didn't see. I wasn't in the stadium for the Netherlands game, the day that Ustari broke his knee, and then Romero became the first choice keeper. But then I was in the semifinals at the Workers Stadium in Beijing. I think it was they demolished that stadium recently, but that was a beautiful stadium. That was my office for a while, and we played the semifinals against Brazil, and then we went to the Bird's Nest also in Beijing to beat Nigeria in the final. I was there. So Di Maria scored in my face, and and this is you're not expecting this, but I'll tell you. After the game, my job was to get some quotes from the players, right, from any team, And then after the game, obviously after the game, there was a medal ceremony because Argentina was getting the gold medal, Nigeria the silver medal, and also the Brazil team was there with Ronaldinho, Dunga, lot of others because they
Yeah.
were getting the bronze medal because we eliminated them in the semifinals. But anyway, I'm there walking near the track, waiting for the ceremony to start. And then I see a lot of Nigeria players getting together, and they were like agitated. And so I said, "What's going on?" And they were like, oh, "It was like a mountain formed by them." And then I saw them like split in half, and a tiny man coming in through the middle, walking in my direction, and that was no other than Diego Maradona. And I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" And because I was working, I shouldn't be,
Your press, your media, you can't go
yeah, I
there.
was media. Yeah, I couldn't take pictures, ask for an autograph or anything. He was walking towards me, and I said, "Diego, gracias." I shook his hand and I said, "Gracias por todo." So I was saying thank you for
Thank you for
everything you did. Yeah.
yeah.
And he was, "It's all right, it's all right." And then in Spanish, obviously in Spanish. And then he
Yeah.
went by. He was so happy because he had a smile like as big as I ever saw him smiling because he just witnessed Argentina win the gold medal at the Olympics, and he was there. Riquelme, Messi, Agüero, you name it. That 2008 team was fantastic, and it was a joy to watch. And I was lucky. We got a comment from China, and I remember that. I wanted to give you that story to bring a happy
The
memory
good stuff.
to,
The
to
good
her.
stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, Seba, I don't know if you know this. I'm guessing no one here knows it. So I have an older brother, right?
Yeah.
And my older brother grew up watching Maradona.
Hmm.
He's grew up watching Maradona and Argentina and everything. And I have a nephew. Guess what my nephew's called?
Romario.
He was good. I like Romario actually,
Yeah,
but Diego.
Yeah,
My
seriously.
nephew's called Diego.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice,
And I
nice.
said if I ever have a son, I'm
Fantastic.
calling him Leo. I said I'm gonna
Nice.
call him
That is
Leo.
fantastic.
I can't. It's yeah, actually that was amazing. I knew about that story because I remember you mentioning it to me in 2008 when it actually
Yeah,
happened. I remember we
of
were
course.
talking
Yeah. I
live
mean,
Skype, I
I
think.
was like, yeah.
But that
I
was
I can I can send some of the pictures that I took. I obviously I was working as I said, so I put my camera like this and tried to take a picture. It was the era of
very
digital
subtle.
cameras, yeah,
Yeah,
without mobile. Yeah, I had to, and I took a picture of him with Ronaldinho because Ronaldinho came closer to say hello because Ronaldinho loves him. And I was there, and I was like, oh my god! I captured the moment in which Maradona and Ronaldinho were hugging and talking to each other, and it was a special moment. Of course, I would have told you because it was.
no, no, no,
I can send you
it's always
some
good
those
hearing it.
pictures.
It's always good hearing it.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so
No,
good,
it's
so good.
yeah. No, my I want to say my favorite moment. Although there have been more important moments, but probably my favorite moment was actually Argentina versus Brazil, the friendly match in 2012. I was at the stadium. I
Right.
was at that stadium where Argentina 4-3 the win and Lionel Messi scored the hat trick. And a little story. I don't know how many people know this, 'cause unless
That
you were at
was
the stadium, you do not know this. Yes,
that
Eva.
was 9 years ago already. 9 years ago. Oh
9
my
years,
god! I thought it
2012.
was closer. Yeah. Oh my
No,
god.
no, 2012. So I was actually standing behind, like when Leo scored the hat trick, the 4-3. I was behind the net, so I saw him coming. But there was an incident in the match right before it was Federico Fernandez, right before he scored. There was a corner kick for Argentina, and Agüero had the ball, and he threw it to Leo to go take the corner. And I was watching, and Leo said no. He threw back the ball, and he pointed to Agüero, go take the corner. Agüero took the corner. Federico scored. So
Oh.
it's a little thing I still remember
Yeah,
whenever I
yeah.
watch the highlights. And I
Giant
never
Stadium, right? Giants.
at
Yeah.
the stadium,
Giant
I
Stadium.
met that
Yeah.
stadium.
Yeah.
And I
The
remember,
Giants. Yeah. Giants.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
when Messi beat Marcelo and he was running towards goal, right before he shot, and I have no shame in saying this, and this is the only time I kind of ever doubted him. As he was about to shoot, I'm like, Leo, don't shoot.
No, sure.
I was like, Leo, don't shoot.
Classic.
And then he shot, and I'm like, Leo, shoot.
Oh my
But
God, Jaco
yeah, no.
Tacos. Jaco Taco, you're going back. You're going back sometime. The semifinals against Italy in the 1990 shootout. I was 13. I remember I run after the game. I run with a couple of flags, couple of Argentina flags, and I run like 10 blocks without stopping because I knew that was a point where everybody will gather to celebrate it. That was huge. I I've seen Argentina win the World Cup 4 years earlier. I was 9. To me, it was natural to go to a World Cup and win it. To go to the World Cup and get to the final, to play the Copa America and win it. Because after that, 1 year after the Italy, 1990, we won the Copa America, and then 2 years later, we won the Copa America, and then we beat Denmark in the Copa Artemio Franchi, which was the one-off. It was like, I think they played twice that Copa, that Artemio Franchi Cup. One was between Uruguay and France, and France beat Uruguay, and the other was Argentina, Denmark, and we beat them on penalties. That was the last tournament that Maradona won with the national team in '93. So to me, it was like we enter a tournament to win it, and we win it. And little did I know, 1993 was the last time. But
my first memory ever, actually, of Argentina was the '94 World Cup. Batistuta, and it was like glimpses. Like I still remember watching. I still remember one of Bati's goals versus Greece. So this is like my first like actual memory. I could say, okay, I remember that. But I was 4 years old. So I was still young. My first one, the '98 World Cup. I had watched. I knew who the players were. At the time, I still had like the Sega Genesis and the PlayStation, so I knew the players, and obviously I would watch the matches too. It wasn't just video games. I would watch the matches, and my older brother would tell me about them. So I would watch and everything. So I was fully in '98, and that Dennis Bergkamp goal as an 8-year-old.
Why are you doing this to us?
But
to me, to us, to everybody watching. Why?
As an 8-year-old, that one. That one hurt a lot, obviously, but then my first, I guess, taste of success was the under 20, the 2001. Because my parents had the old, it was like a satellite dish, so we used to be able to get matches from everywhere around the world. And I remember there was one channel, I can't remember what it was, but I don't think it was from Argentina, that aired the final, or that was airing the tournament. And I remember not really knowing, like, trying to figure out the times, what time they were playing, and I remember catching that final. So that was like my first bit of success, and I'm like, oh, Argentina won a World Cup, and I'm like, this is not like, this is the under 20, right? It's it was interesting, and that was it, Sajid. Yes, Batistuta first hat trick versus Greece, Maradona's goal against Greece, and screaming towards the camera.
Those were the days. I was about to finish high school, by the way. That was my last year of high school, and I was really, that age, 17. I was 17. That age, the passion for football is, flowing in every pore of your body, and then let me tell you, because that was a surreal experience. Because when Diego failed the doping test and he got expelled from the World Cup, I've never seen so many people sad in the street, at school. Everybody was, crying. I've seen people cry. I've seen, it was like, as the joy was taken out of the nation. And I remember going to school the day after we got knocked out, and we were talking with a friend, and we were, I don't remember if I was crying or if he was crying. And then the teacher goes, "Oh, stop crying because of that drug addict." And we went like crazy. Yeah, he called Diego a drug addict. And I was like, "What? What are you saying? Why are you?" We were like, "Oh my God." I was afraid to get expelled from school. It didn't happen, but I still remember how angry I felt, because that was, very, very bad timing from that woman to be telling us that. But yeah, it was bad. Diego
Yeah.
summed it up. He said, "Me cortaron las piernas. Las piernas. My legs were chopped." I mean,
Chopped, yeah.
we all felt like that. We all felt like that. It was. I mean, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to sleep being sad. I mean, let's bring some happy memories, please.
Okay. Forget this. No. Enough about the sadness. One last question to everybody before we conclude and talk about this. One last question going to the semifinal. Seba, the goal you celebrated the most in your life, and everybody else, what's the goal you celebrated the most in your life? I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it, or at least your top three. If you can't put it down to one,
that would be better. Yeah, top three.
Top three goals you celebrated.
If you put me in a hurry, I'm gonna say Canidia's goal against Brazil in 1990.
Okay, 1990, yeah.
Because we were tormented throughout that game. We were suffering a lot, and I still remember. I was 13. When I was 12, we played a Copa America in Brazil, 1989, and in the Maracanã, the demolition of Argentina that I saw that night, I've never witnessed before. Brazil, it was only 2-0, but it was a demolition. It was too bad. Bebeto, Romario, they were doing whatever they wanted to us. And then facing them 1 year later and beating them with our only shot on goal, maybe, that was that was huge. That was huge. So that would be my top one if you ask me right now in a hurry.
Top one. So funny story about that, or I guess kind of a funny story. I was flying from. I was going to England. I was going to London. This was September 2019. I was going to London, and I was on the plane. And I have a hard drive with at least 50 full Argentina matches, at least. And it's a long flight. It's a 7-hour flight from here to London. So I'm sitting, and I'm like, you know what match I haven't seen in a while? Argentina-Brazil, 1990.
Oh.
And I watched the match, and I forgot that this was old, right? This was like, at the time, 19 years or 29 years old. I'm watching, I'm like, how did people survive this watching this live?
I don't know why. I don't know how.
Post about 3 times, and I joke about this. I really joke about this sometimes. I said, Argentina, the reason why Argentina have not won a single trophy since 1993 is because they've used up all their luck ever in that one match.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a very good point. Yeah. I mean, that was oh my God.
It was,
some very good calls here. Zanetti versus England, that was huge.
I remember celebrating that match like a madman,
Palermo, Peru. Oh my God. Palermo versus Peru.
Palermo, Peru.
Very good. Maxi versus Mexico, I was going to say. Because that was the early days of Mundo Albiceleste. We just started back then, before that tournament. And it meant a lot because it was the first time I was, following Argentina, not only with my friends and family from Argentina, but also with a lot of new friends from every latitude. To me, it was like, okay, I know that there's people up in India watching this. I know there's people in Bangladesh. I don't know what time it is right now over there, but I know they're watching with the same passion that I am, and I know this means a lot for all of us. And the way that Maxi scored that one, that was, it's in my top 3 for sure. That
one. So a little bit, we kind of spoke about this earlier. Jacko Taco, best moment was the under 20 in 2001. Being at home was a very special experience. That team just flew through the tournament. That was a good team.
Yeah.
That was a Maxi Rodriguez, Saviola,
Alessandro.
Yeah,
it was good. Coloccini,
Fabrizio Coloccini,
also Chori Dominguez, he broke his leg. The players were dedicating the win to him. Yeah, that was very good. That was a very good tournament. I remember.
Sajid. Oh, so Sajid has some different ones. So obviously Batistuta against Greece, the second goal. Max versus Mexico. Tevez versus Mexico. That was a very good one in 2010. Yeah, that was good. George Leva, Batty versus England. That penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say some of the goals in '86. I was 9. It's not like I have a clear. I mean, I remember where I was in every game.
Yeah.
Messi versus Iran. Yeah, that was more a relief. Yeah, that was more of a relief. That yeah, it was huge, and it was a great goal also. But I mean, I was 9, so there's not a lot of consciousness going into the logic,
Of course.
the understanding of the game, what it
The
really
tactics and
means.
then
Yeah, the tactics, how much it costs to get there emotionally. So I remember more the celebration afterwards, going to the streets. Obviously, it was a huge moment. But in Italy, 1990, I think every goal that we scored was I celebrated them. I
yeah,
celebrated them more than 4 years later, earlier. Um, Higuain
it's
against Belgium, that was a good taken goal. Yeah, that
that
was
was
good. That
good.
was good.
There were a couple of people that wrote the penalties itself were Romero's save versus the Netherlands in 2014. I cried after that match. I won't lie.
I'm
I cried after that match.
again. I'm gonna be very unpopular because I have to say maybe in the top three of the goals that I celebrated the most.
Yeah.
It's Higuain's goal in the final against Germany,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
obviously didn't count. But the
same.
stupid commentator was shouting, "Goal!" And I was like, "Oh my god, it counted!" Because Higuain was also celebrating. And
Yeah.
then, like 30 seconds later, we saw the linesman with the flag up, and it was like, and people were still shouting in the balconies. Sorry. We went from happiest moment ever
Oh,
to
it's
misery.
yeah. Yeah. George Pileva, Diego was Australia. I was 7. I felt that. So that was the qualifier or the playoff. Sorry, the playoff for the qualifiers in '94 or for '94 was in '93.
Bati scored the goal. I think it was. Help me out here. I think it was
Uh,
0-0 in Australia, or was it 1-1-0? 1-0
no,
in
I believe.
Australia. We
Fuck.
won one. We won 1-0 here at River,
Let's look this up.
and Batistuta scored with a deflection. He tried to cross, and the ball went in, but I don't remember if it was 0-0
Here we
in
go. So the
Australia
first match.
or 1-0.
So I'll bring this up on screen here. So the first match
So 1-0, 1-0.
in Australia
Balbo.
was 1-1 with Abel Balbo scoring.
Yeah, and
And
Aurelio Vidmar
and,
scoring for.
and Tobin, the own goal by Tobin.
Yeah, because we said that Batistuta scored because he sent the cross and
Yeah.
Tobin tried to block it, and it took a deflection that was really fortunate for us. We were using our luck, still. We were still using our luck.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad.
It was. So let's wrap this up. It's been going on for a while. It was fun. I loved going off topic a little bit.
We
And
didn't
Sajid
prepare.
had it
Yeah,
right.
we didn't prepare for it. Yeah.
1-0 home match. He has a better memory than most of us. I'm not going to ask for your predictions, Seba, because I know we're not big fans. But does Argentina play in the final on Saturday? I'm not asking you for a score. I'm not asking you for a score. I'm just asking. Does Argentina play in the final on Saturday? I'll let you think about it, guys. What do you think about it, guys?
Guys, I'm superstitious.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer.
You guys read my face. You read my face. I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay. All right. Okay. Simeon says yes. Ronnie says winning it against Ref Brazil. All right.
Brazil.
Jaco Taco, Argentina 3-1 all day. Okay. Raf, sí, como no. So yes, Let's see. I mean, this one kind of sums it up. I think so. I think this is a yes.
Yeah.
I think this is a yes. Oh my God. No, there was some. I think most people are saying yes here. Let's scroll up. Jaco Taco the 3-1. People are still commenting. People are still leaving their comments. So I will say this: Daniel says Colombia might be tougher than Brazil. I think it'll be trickier than most people expect. I think playing against Colombia is going to be trickier than most people expect. Sorry, Sajid, Argentina 2-0 versus Colombia. Roman Shishir. Oops, let's bring this up. 2-0. So I'm going to say yes, we do see Argentina in the final on Saturday. I'm not very good at giving. Actually, I kind of am pretty good. If you go through my Twitter recently, I've been getting the
Yeah,
Euros pretty
yeah, you
much.
got it. Yeah, you got it
But
right.
I never comment about Argentina, by the way, and there's a
Yeah,
reason for it.
you got the Italy result right,
I
right?
did.
The other
I
day.
did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I said 3-1. I
fantastic.
said England. I said England 3-0 versus Ukraine, but I was close 4-0.
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know if my. I'll take this. I don't know if my heart can take this though.
Oh man!
I
And what
don't know
will
if
be
my
the
heart
score
can take it.
progression? Because if you're 3-0 up and then they score two late
3-2.
goals, oh my god! I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't think that's
No,
any.
I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's not good for our hearts.
No, no. And last question. So a couple of people have been asking regarding Cristian Romero.
Hmm.
We're waiting on him, right? Scaloni said it earlier in the press conference. He said we have a couple of players that are fatigued, a couple of players that have knocks, and we're gonna wait until tomorrow to kind of tell. And one of those players, or the player that I guess he is talking about, is Cristian Romero. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
there's also a version that says that the club is putting some pressure, saying, "Okay, we don't want to risk this guy getting um, serious injury, and maybe they're thinking of selling him in this transfer market." So I don't know whether that's true. If they're putting pressure, saying, "Hey, try not to play him," or refrain from playing him. But if he's good to go, obviously he could be the difference maker for us
yes,
defensively. He's
yes,
been huge. He's been a great introduction to the team, and he's playing like he's a 50 cup veteran for us, which
yeah.
is invaluable. That to me, it's a very good quality.
No, he's been huge. He's been huge.
Mhm.
I think they did the right thing in not starting him versus Ecuador. I think Scaloni thought, and rightfully so, that Argentina have enough in them to get the win versus Ecuador without Romero.
Yeah,
Obviously, there is pressure from Atalanta. That's what That's what's being reported. But I think we're too far deep into the tournament for Scaloni or even Romero to
yeah,
maybe listen to Atalanta and say, "Okay, no, you're right. I'm not going to play." Look, it's a semifinal. I would like to think that. I would like to think that.
yeah. That's true.
Personally speaking,
That's true.
my personal opinion, I don't think Romero plays tomorrow. I think if we make the final on Saturday, I think he plays on Saturday. I don't think he plays tomorrow. I hope so. I hope he does. I hope he's fit, and I hope he does. I hope we win. But
Yeah, I hope it's just an anecdote and not a
yeah,
what if. Yeah, it's just I hope it's not a decisive factor and we can
yeah,
win without him.
and
Yeah,
I mean, valid point right here by. And apologies if I mispronounce your name, Ruizu. At this point, I think playing Guido is more important than Kuti being able to play. To a certain degree, Guido is a difference maker. He is a difference
yeah,
maker for us. So for sure, no,
yeah.
I hope so. And Amen, he did. Amen writes Romero also scored versus Colombia. That was Roberto Ayala, like, or Samuel, his
My
goal in the
God,
header.
what a header!
Yeah,
What a way to introduce yourself!
yeah,
What a header! Yeah.
that was something else. That was something else. Seba, anything before we bring this home? Anything you'd like to
No,
add?
just no. I mean, this was a big surprise because we started reminiscing, and it tells you it tells you a real story that we were all sharing moments, memories in this impromptu situation that came up. We started talking about the hurt of following Argentina, the happy times, the happy memories, but also the build up to where we are. We are again 90 minutes away from another final, and the old enemy is waiting for us there. Enemy,
Yeah, yeah, no, of
I
course.
really
It's
love,
football,
I
football
really
enemy.
love Brazil. Yeah, obviously. So let's enjoy the moment. However hard is the semifinal, and thank you for from the bottom of my heart because sharing this together with you, as I said when we were talking about the 2006 World Cup, which was the first one that I got to experience with all of you, at least virtually from the distance. But the important thing is that we feel together. We feel like we are part of the same team, the same family. And I wanted to just say thank you. Take a moment to say thank you, because as Roman is saying, he's watching live at 3:34 a.m. Dublin time. That's great. That to us that it's heartwarming, and I wanted to,
Absolutely.
just stop for 1 second and say thank you to everyone who's been sharing their memories and joining us in this live video that we do because we love Argentina. We love to share the same feeling with you guys.
Yeah. No, I echo your sentiments, Seba. Honestly, we like even, and I'll mention this now. Like before we went on air, Seba said, "Okay, how do you kind of want to like talk about this?" And I said, "Well, look, we'll talk about I guess the Brazil match first, and we'll talk about us, and we'll see how it goes." So yes, this was completely unexpected. No idea how we got there, but I'm happy we did, and it's really a big family everywhere, all across the world. Anthony says, thank you for this chat. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, everybody, for joining. John, you haven't heard my stories. You do, and we're going to hear your stories. This is not the last time we're going to do this, John. You know this.
Of course.
And we have to have you on as well, definitely. And yeah, it's always fun. It's always good doing this. One of the reasons why I love doing this, one of the several reasons why I love doing this, is just connecting with everybody and hearing the stories and where everybody's from. And it's kind of like, it's comforting, you know what I mean? Especially with all the heartbreak that we've gone through the past 20 plus years, unfortunately, but it's always fun. It's like a support group. It's really like a support group. George from New York City, there you go.
Nice.
So every time, there you go. Thank you, Simeon. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for joining. And there you go. This was fun. This was it. Argentina semifinal Tuesday, and in some parts of the world even Wednesday. Hopefully we do a video on Saturday. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just saying hopefully. And yeah, so that's that. Thank you everybody for joining. My name is Roy Nemmer of Mundo Albiceleste. I'm joined by the living legend himself, one the only Sebastian Garcia, with the cameo appearance by his son Manuel.
Yeah, his debut. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you everybody for joining. It's hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, well, hopefully the next video we do is a very positive one as well. If you know what I mean.
Yes. Let's hope for that.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.